Hello ladies and gentlemen, Meoni here to talk to you about Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and more specifically the open beta weekend that has since closed this previous Monday. In an effort to be as frank and as honest with you, let's make sure we look at all critical aspects of the game in detail. So let's show off some screenshots whilst we do
all the way back in 2013 on an entirely different YouTube channel there. One young aspiring content creator with more ums in a sentence than you could realistically ever have need for, had a sudden burst of interest for a game that many at the time dismissed in all honesty a failed project. Having played very briefly in 1.0's iteration of Final Fantasy XIV and choosing to play Fisher as my starting class, clearly my time in Eorzea was not something I could really shed much interest into. With ridiculous experience gain locks on the game per day, levy quests as a main source of content for the most part, and a really clumsy feeling user interface, movement controls and average looking combat, it left a lasting impression on many people for the wrong reasons. And then systematically we all ran back into our little comfort zone holes, my own being World of Warcraft, of which I'd played since the Burning Crusade expansion. But 2013 pretty much changed everything, scorching from the skies in that famous intro cutscene with a plume of newfound inspiration and dedication. Square Enix didn't really look like they wanted to take this defeat lying down, and so with the new captain of the ship now being the famed Naoki Yoshida, and the new team behind it at Square Enix, A Realm Reborn was teased. The game's rebirth was so heavily documented at the time, and the live broadcast with Yoshi P only added more and more to the hype every time. It eventually came to August the 17th, 2013, and the open beta began, which would last until the 19th of August, so you had 2 days to try out the game and see if you liked it. And to my absolute amazement, I did. The introduction quests were rich and detailed, unlike 1.0, the cutscenes were frequent and interesting for the most part, unlike many other games at the time. The whole world felt completely different than 1.0, and it was such an incredible thing to witness. It was the equivalent of taking a game off the shelf that you really don't like, using all the background assets and completely making a brand new one that you do like. It was completely unbelievable what they did. It was just a complete rebirth. And let me tell you, those 2 days were the most memorable in an MMORPG I have ever had until this day. Unfortunately, in 2013, Square Enix had a very different look on non-disclosure for the entire game and prohibited any video game footage to be recorded and uploaded, which obviously since then they have gone away from. So my time back then was documented sadly in just images, which are still great, but it is strange now to look back on and see what it was actually like to make content for the game. Release came eventually, and to no real surprise, I was completely hooked. The game had me so bad. I had dreamt about the forests of Gridania the Twelves would for real in real life, and every moment without the game I was filled with frantic Google and YouTube searches to find any and every piece of information I could on the world, its rich storyline, what I had perhaps missed in 1.0, pretty much anything and everything 14 related. But here it was, the game honestly I'd been waiting for what felt like years. I think for the next 2 weeks on that release I had stopped communicating with pretty much everyone in the world. Food was taken directly in front of the PC to eat, bathroom breaks felt more like a chore than a necessity. It was very South Park. It was a very special experience that nothing really provided up until this point, only slightly comparable to World of Warcraft in that respect. As time went by, however, there were so many times throughout the year I wondered if the game would survive. It came out in a very turbulent time, and there were so many Korean and Eastern themed MMORPGs that were all coming over to the West, and it really felt that this would be a momentary thing. But you know, back then you played every day like it was the last, and the community was, and still remains for the most part, the most wonderful part of the game, and that's the reason it succeeded. Never in a million years did I think I would make a YouTube career around Final Fantasy, a series that I'd loved since I was a kid, but know that I am incredibly thankful that I could. To share the moments in the game that we all love, to help people get the information they need in a format that is easily understandable, available and they can listen to if they desire on the move, and that's really all I strive to do. But you all push me, each and every one of you, to go further in what I do, and I love you all for that. But Square Enix, from developers to social media staff, from translators to forum staff, everyone at Square Enix has made a conscious effort to make 14 more than just another MMORPG from the East that comes and goes. They've collectively made Final Fantasy XIV a standard in the industry, of which all other games must now look up to, with so many bars set that it's actually unbelievable. And that's not just based on numbers or anything like that, you can actually feel it if you play the game. The amount of varied content in each and every patch, the constant fixes and balancing hotfixes, the little things like minions and achievements and titles that honestly they could have never made and saved that budget for other things, but they did because they know people like things like that. The gold saucer, the hunts, treasure maps, fates, arena-based and large-scale frontline PvP, 4-player dungeons, intense normal and savage 8-player content, normal and extreme primals, exciting crossovers with other games, 24-player alliance raids with increasingly exciting storylines as we progress through the years, a massive main storyline now filled with incredible voice talent, rich dialogue, and enough twists, turns and despair to equal any large-scale movie production. This list could go on and on. But this is only possible because they listen to their audience and continue to know what's right for the game themselves, which so many other companies seemingly do not do as well as they used to, especially when we look at Blizzard for an example. And so, for as long as Square Enix keeps the game updated and exciting, then we will all keep on loving it for the many, many more years to come. I want to look back in another 6 years and just laugh at how quickly the game has grown since here, and I firmly believe that not only will the game still be popular in 6 years, but it will be a completely different, ever-changing catalogue of content for pretty much every audience imaginable. And hopefully, you know, maybe there'll be a better housing system too. Who knows? Either way, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.